Hello, Bijoy ji. How are you?
Hello, Somya ji. I am good. How are you?
I'm fine. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too, man. And we're looking forward to having this discussion.
Same here, same here. So, how are things holding up in Singapore?
It's good so far. I mean, if you're talking about like from a pandemic perspective, right? I think we are moving closer towards opening up things gradually. Still being a little cautious. There's still a little bit of a not exactly lockdown, but there are some restrictions still in place. So because there's around like 14, 15 community cases per day still,
Okay.
which is a small number compared to other countries, but still it's better to be cautious, right? So I believe by probably September, October, something like that, they should be able to open up.
At this very point of time, the Indian comic community is going through a very interesting curve. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There was definitely a time, I suppose, not long ago, maybe 5, 6, or 7 years back.
Correct.
I mean, I don't need to say anything else. Things were not that good.
Yeah.
Things are changing, and I think during this pandemic time, for the last 1 or 2 years, things have really started turning around in a positive direction in terms of readership. Because comic book community, I think it's quite small in India, but the readership has always been very strong. And now with all these with the advent of all these new comic book publications, including Yali Dream Creations, bringing out new dynamic characters, storylines, it's just a wonder to see what comes next in the upcoming years. Bijoy ji, you are a comic book writer, and one of your latest projects is with Yali Dream Creation Codename Alpha. We'll be talking about that very soon, but let's start with you, your own personal life, your personal journey. Please tell the viewers, where exactly are you from and how exactly you landed up into this comic book industry?
I'm basically from Kerala. I'm a Mallu, as they say. Although I've not really stayed in Kerala for too long. I think the biggest stretch I've stayed in Kerala is only for my engineering, which was like 4 years. After that, I was always outside. Most of my childhood, like my entire schooling, I spent it in Abu Dhabi actually, in the Emirates, UAE.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I did my entire schooling, and that's really where my sort of journey into comics started. And the thing is, at that time in the UAE, right, we didn't really, at least where the area that I grew up, we didn't really have too much access to comic books. We had bookstores, but they didn't really stock comics as such. They used to have these floppies, right, the 20-page DC Marvel ones, but those are like random, just strewn about, right? And then some random, some rich Arab guy will come in, he'll pick up the entire stack for his son, and he'll just walk away, and there's nothing left, okay, for you to actually buy. That's what usually happens. So what happened was there was this bookstore where we used to buy these regional newspapers. I think it was called India Book House or something like that. And my dad used to go there, and once I went with him, and that's where I discovered Diamond Comics. Okay, your Chacha Chaudhary, Pinky, Billu, Mahabali, Agniputra, all of that. I just went crazy. Okay, it's like next level. This is another, because these are people who are closer to me. Like they're Indian, right? They're not like so that kind of enamored me a lot more. And then by that time, I'd also started reading like DC Marvel, just one off. Okay, like not actively reading as such, but just like that. School time is when really the sort of interest in reading comics at least started off. And I used to draw as well. Okay, like I was an artist. I'm still an artist, although I don't get enough time to practice it. So I was constantly illustrating as well, and that kind of interest with comics sort of merged, and then I was constantly drawing comic book characters, of course, but then like you said, 8th, 9th, 10th, terrible years, right, for to be an Indian kid. So that sort of interest sort of waned as well, because I was mostly looking at my school books instead, my textbooks instead. But then once I got into my engineering course, that's when another thing happened, where I had a batchmate who had these DVDs that were filled with digital comics. Okay.
So he burned that. He burned.
Scans.
This brings out so many memories.
Yeah. So and these. So the surprising thing was these comics were very different from what I'd seen then. These were I'll tell you. These were Sin City, like Frank Miller's Sin City, then Spawn, Sandman. Okay.
Oh my God.
And I had basically the whole British invasion, right? Your Garth Ennis, Warren Ellis, Neil Gaiman, all of these guys, right? I'm like Grant Morrison, and I just saw this and like what? Like what happened in the time I stopped reading comics? Like some explosion happened. Right? It just evolved into something completely different, and that really sort of opened up like some pocket in my mind, right? I'm like, oh, you can have comics like this also. I didn't know that. Okay.
Especially the first exposure. That is so dope. So dope.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Amazing. Frank Miller and everything. Really, when you see that,
totally, I'm getting goosebumps now. Yeah. Now in college, right? So I was doing my engineering, but then I was also doing art quite a bit. So as part of these clubs, I was doing like illustrations, poster design, all of that for them. But then once I read comics, right, I'm like, I should do this. I should be drawing comics. Okay, so that's when I actively started drawing comics. And I also started, what I did was, I wanted to make comics of my own, but then, like storytelling wise, I wasn't great. Like I didn't know, like I just didn't know. I had stories, but they were all bullshit, right? Like I couldn't write. When I was blankly just sitting one day and scrolling through my Facebook, I don't know what I was looking at, just blankly scrolling. I saw two words on my Facebook feed. I saw Yali and I saw writer. Okay, and I suddenly just jumped. Okay, like what? Okay, and it was an ad from Yali. They were looking for writers basically, and I immediately applied.
And this is. When we are talking about what year?
This is slightly more than 1 year ago. Slightly more than a year ago.
Achha.
Maybe a year and a half, something like that. So I applied, and I'll tell you, there are things we keep framed on our walls, right? Like our photos, our parents' photos, like whatever, right? Family photos, all of that. But me, right? If there's one thing I'll frame on a wall, it's that email I sent Aswin. Okay, I'm not boasting, but honestly, I think it's the best email I've ever written my whole life. Okay, including work emails, personal emails, the best email. Okay, and that in fact, if that email had not worked out right, I would have been extremely sad because I put my whole heart into that email for some reason.
Wow.
Okay. It's completely stupid, but it's just funny, right? Anyway, but it worked. Okay, like Aswin reached out and he said, "Hey, like let's talk." I was like, "Okay, it worked." Okay, the email worked. Right? I was like very happy. And then Aswin called me and we started talking. We started discussing. He asked me, "Have you read Yali's books?" I said, "Yeah, I've read everything except Devi Chaudhrani. I had read at that point." He said, "Okay, do you?" So he gave me what do you call? Sorry, so your original question was about me, and now I've reached Yali already. Hope that's fine.
Perfect. It's perfectly fine because my next question was anyhow linked with.
Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, so Aswin told me, okay, like we're looking to sort of expand the Yali universe, and we're looking. We want to we want to create a fun superhero character. Okay. These were his exact word: fun superhero character.
Fun superhero character. All right.
Yeah, like quite unlike the titles that they have today. Today, Rakshak and Caravan and Village are extremely dark and gritty and all of that, right? What do you want to do? Something slightly more fun. Okay, fun doesn't mean like more for kids, but slightly more lighthearted. Okay, and superhero also, because Rakshak is vigilante. Right? He's a human. So they wanted a superhero thing.
It would be more like Hancock.
Yeah, like Hancock, exactly. Okay. Okay, I didn't know he would say that much, but okay. Anyway, so he told me this, and that's exactly what he told me. So we want somebody like Hancock. Okay, like not somebody like Hancock, something like Hancock in terms of tone. And so I said, okay, sure. Like let me pitch a few ideas to you. And the next couple of weeks, I sent him like some I don't know, some 6, 7 different ideas, all of in different states of length. Some might be one paragraph, some might be one page, etc. Out of those, two ideas stuck, and yeah, so these were what we were discussing. But I still felt, and then I was narrating. Okay, like I had like large treatments for them, and I was narrating these, but somehow I felt like Ashwin wasn't really getting convinced by it. That's not really what he was looking for. And then I remember like one night just before I went to sleep, right? I suddenly got an idea. It is a one-line idea. I cannot tell you what the idea is because it's a spoiler. But I got one idea, and I was like, okay, let me tell this to him, right? Just before I go to sleep. So I just went on WhatsApp. I typed that one idea. It is literally 2 lines. Okay. And then he got back saying, "This is interesting. Let's do this." Okay, and not let's do this, but tell me more about this. Okay, and that's where Codename Alpha really started. And then for nearly a year, we were just going draft after draft after draft.
I mean, whatever I have been listening for the past all these 15, 20 minutes, this is what I always emphasize on, because among the viewers, there will be some Bijoy, who wants to know about stuff, who wants to know how to enter the industry. And while listening to all these people from the comic book community and from the comic book industry, all these different personalities, you might get a feel that, okay, this is what my life is.
Correct.
This is how I faced depression. This is how I faced frustration. And if he could do it, maybe I can as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the reason all this narration, all this description from your side is so important, so vital for the viewers. I just wish, as a professional writer, I just wish you all the very best for this project.
And thank you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I'll be the one of the very first people who will be buying the Codename Alpha. That's for sure.
Thank you. That's good to know, and that's very encouraging as well. And it actually, I should thank you more than the compliment. I should thank you for, having a channel like this and actually putting out content very frequently, right? Because like you said, right, there is a lack of awareness about what the industry is about, how much of hard work goes into it. It's not child's play, right? It's definitely not that. People are putting out their sweat and blood into all of these things, and they are extremely passionate about it as much as any other field. And it's through people like yourself that like your average reader or the average Indian would get to know about it. So thank you for putting out the content like this, and thank you for having me also.
Thank you so much. Who is your favorite comic book character?
Oh, character. Okay, that's a tough one. So see, all of these guys are my childhood heroes. But if I have to pick one, that will definitely be the Hulk. The reason being, I feel like we share a similar character traits. Not that I turn green and my shirt explodes. Not that. But in terms of being a misunderstood character, I got you.
I got you. One last question for the viewers. Finally, I suppose there's still time for Codename Alpha to be released, to be printed, I suppose. And for the viewers, what will be your certain points or suggestions why to buy Codename Alpha?
Interesting thing. Okay, so depending on my answer, I am either going to make Ashwin a lot of money or lose him a lot of money. So need to be very careful. So Codename Alpha is so like you said, Hancock, right? So it's definitely a good mix of fun, so grittiness and action and fun in equal measures. There'll be enough for you to laugh and enough for you to go oof, right? So there's all of those, and it is so the first volume is mostly going to be about, like I said, right, we have to split the story into 3. The first volume is mostly going to be set up. So it'll be a little slow, maybe. It's just setting up the world, who is Alpha, who are these people, all of that. But volume 2 and volume 3 is definitely going to kick up the octane levels quite a bit. And reason for you to buy it, it is Codename Alpha is going to be a mix of all of the great superheroes that you know and love, mixed with a tinge of the Bollywood that you know and love. Okay, so all of those cliched Bollywood things that you hate, but you also love so much, right? The reason why you keep going back to the theater, you will find all of those in Codename Alpha as well. So Alpha is not just a superhero, but he's also a Tapori superhero.
All right then. So at the end, once again, very formally, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
No,
thank you so much for coming.
For formally from me as well. Thank you for having me.
All right then. Take care. Hope to see you again. Goodbye.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.